Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk and the last FPL FIFA World Cup video. I'm going to go through my team selection for match day 7. I'm going to have a look at how I got and how the land lays after match day 6, which transfers I've made, which ones I intend to make. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, make sure you give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. So this is my side and how I ended up at the end of match day 6. I did make some transfers. I did shuffle around a few players at the last minute when I got team sheets. And in the end, it worked out pretty well in terms of setting up for match day 7. Not much to talk about in terms of hauls. Hernandez obviously was a great option. He got me 13 points. Otherwise, Messi was captain. I did him on the first day and I just stuck with him. The only other choice I could have possibly gone for, I think, was Mbappe. But I did, with an assist, with a goal, I just felt it was the obvious choice to stick with Messi, and that turned out to be the case. Midfield, as it has been all through the tournament, has just been really hard to pick anyone who can get any sort of points. I did have Sosa on the bench. He got a -1, so I ended up bringing in Hakimi for a 0. I just didn't know who else to bring in terms of midfielders. Tchouameni, I'm not massively keen on bringing him in, but I did want a French midfielder, and there's very few other options when Rabiot's not playing that could get further forward. So it wasn't, all in all, it was a decent week. I actually went up in overall ranks, got 57 points, overall ranks 322,000. Just taking a bit of a punt, I think, for game week 7. But in terms of picking the right sides to get through the final, yeah, I'm pretty set up for that. So I'm pretty confident I'm going to get at least 11 out for this. It's going to be which players can I have a punt on in that 3rd to 4th place playoffs. So let's have a look and see what I'm going to do. So just a reminder of the rules going into the last match day. Then we have 8 players from each team you're allowed to have. You are allowed to make 6 transfers ready for match day 7. That goes right up until kickoff, so you've got until the last possible minute to make those transfers, which is great because we can see those team sheets for the 3rd, 4th place playoff. Don't need to tell you all this, you've been playing all this time, you know it all. And then finally we do have that 3rd versus 4th playoff, which could be an opportunity to get some differential players in. We'll have to have a look. I've done a little bit of studying in terms of the past about 3rd to 4th place playoffs. I can't say it very easily. Is that basically, I would have expected more goals in that 3rd place playoff just because it's a little bit more open. Players don't really want to, the cuffs are off really a little bit. You can just go for it. But as it turns out, more goals have been scored in the final than the actual 3rd place playoff. Maybe it's a bit of the fact that no one really wants to be playing that final game, the loser's semi-final, as it were, I suppose. So, I don't know, maybe it's a misreading of it. I also wonder just for a second whether players, almost the opposite of coming into this World Cup, they're going to go back to their clubs. Do they want to risk getting injured for that last game? Will they just hold back a little bit? It's going to be such a long break now between this tournament and the next major international. I don't think it really matters what you do in this 3rd place playoff game. It's not going to have a lasting effect in terms of your next selection. So I don't know, I've got mixed feelings of it. But the one thing it does allow us to do is maybe there'll be some rotation in this 3rd place playoff. Gives us a chance to get differentials, just make a last hoorah Hail Mary pass to get into the top 110k, whatever you're aiming for. So I've made some transfers, and because my side's pretty well set up and everyone knows that the semi-finals, if you've got a side out then, you've got a good chance of getting players out into the next round as well, because they're all playing again. And we know what those lineups are probably going to be for the final as well. So looking at my side, I know out of this team, maybe there's a doubt over Perisic and Hakimi if they'd be rested, but other than that, I know that all my players are going to be playing. So who do I possibly go for? I'm thinking of just going for a punt in terms of the Moroccan keeper. Could go for Croatian keeper. I just think if the other keeper plays for Morocco, I'm just going to go for him instead. Just going to get those save points. I expect Croatia to be more on the front foot than Morocco. So just more opportunity for save points. Feels like a bit of just a free pass, really. I'm just going to go for a get out of jail free one. If it comes off, great. If not, Lloris comes in. Modric as well, possibly. Will he play? That's the question. Whether Perisic plays or not, again, just won't know. For Fofana, I like the fact that he's a defender, but he's going to be playing a bit further forward in that midfield. For France, have to wait and see if he keeps his start in place. You have to assume after the performance against Morocco in the last round, he will. And then lastly, looking for a Croatian defender against that Moroccan side that just don't score many goals. Lovren seemed the obvious choice. I'm obviously not going to make any of these changes into the last possible minute because I just want to see, will Hakimi play? Will Perisic play? Modric, Lovren. Long seasons ahead for all of them. They've been a long journey in this World Cup so far. So perhaps none of them will play. I'm looking at the likes of Vlasic. Will he get a bit of a run up? That would be interesting. I would like to see him if he starts. He would definitely come into my side, possibly instead of a Modric or a Perisic, whichever would drop. Most possibly even a Fofana. I wouldn't mind getting rid of Hakimi. But then again, I've got Fofana to drop in there anyway. Orsic may be the other one to come into up front, but I'm not sure I want to drop Giroud, Messi or Mbappe for that final. So that's the other problem. And then just generally across the whole tournament, there's just been real sort of problems or value trying to find players in that midfield section. So really, I'm just going to be waiting until the final for those team sheets. I'm going to go for the Croatian keeper, sorry, the Moroccan keeper, whoever comes in. If it's Bono, brilliant. Don't know how seriously the Moroccan's going to take this. Modric, if he plays his last ever game of World Cup, I think I've got to pick him for that. Lovren at the back, Perisic just because he's so adventurous and far forward going forward. So down as a midfielder and not many options, so he would come in. And then lastly, if none of these pay off in that third place playoff, then I would end up bringing Fofana, Tchouaméni and Hernandez back in. So I've got some scope, and obviously Lloris would come in as well and replace Bono. Captaincy wise, I am tempted to go Perisic because he's so far forward. I don't know, really, will he get the minutes? That's the thing. He struggles to play week in and week out for Tottenham. So how are Croatia going to adapt this as well? Possibly his last World Cup. Everyone's talking about Modric, but Perisic scored in the World Cup final. He's had such a great career internationally as well. So maybe a bit of a last hurrah for him. Can't see that he's going to be 37, something like that in the next World Cup. Could take a punt on Modric's captaincy. If Vlasic comes in one of those, I am tempted to just take a wild punt on him. He keep me down as a defender. He loves to get forward. And maybe with the shackles off a little bit, again, Morocco get forward. Possibly. I think there's one or two punts. I'm not wildly hopeful, but who knows if it comes home. I think just for the sake, if he gets a goal, then I'll probably stick. Because I just don't expect the final to be too open. If it's just one goal involvement, like an assist or something, I'll probably twist and just go for someone else in the final. And it feels so boring. It's hard to look past Messi. You could go Mbappe, absolutely. Possibly go for Griezmann instead of Giroud. That's an option. If I've got a transfer, I might make that. But I just think Messi and Mbappe are just it's the penalties, I think, that just slightly edge it for me on Messi's side. I think overall, possibly France. I don't know what the bookies make him, but slight favourites, and I would have them as well. And Mbappe just be one of the players of the tournament, as is Messi though, nothing between them, just going to go for because Messi has the pens. But that's how my side would set up. But a lot of it would just depend on that team news. I'm going to just go for wild punts in terms of Croatians. I definitely favour the Croatians over the Moroccans in that third place playoff. And the rest of the side, I think is pretty set. Molina, is he the only one doubtful with Acuna coming back in? Don't know, just have to keep an eye on that. I will have enough transfers to move them out if we get team news on that in any case. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below, who are you bringing in for Matchday 7? Who are you going to captain as well? That will be really interesting. We'll be back at you next week, maybe with a roundup of how I ended up in the World Cup FIFA, and on more FPL content as that becomes live just over a week's time. We'll be looking at unlimited team selections, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that like. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, take care and good luck.